The following podcast is brought to you by the Geeks 2 Network, and all opinions are those of the hosts. Listener discretion is advised. It's time to talk wrestling. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
And welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty, joined as always by my cohort and producer,
Ike Isaacs. That's me, man.
Is that supposed to be your dramatic intro?
No, I was
trying
just
to put yourself over on the show.
I don't need to be put over.
That's right, because I'm going to bury you. Yeah, you don't want. What do you mean you don't want?
You're like John Cena. You're going to bury everybody.
John Cena does not bury anybody. AJ Styles has 3 wins on him. How's that burying?
I don't know, man. I don't. I'm not AJ Styles or John Cena, so I wouldn't know.
Certainly not.
Hey, look. Just because I don't wrestle, don't mean I'm no AJ Styles.
You're such a poet. Don't mean I'm no AJ Styles.
Hey, that's how he talks.
He's from Georgia, man. He's a Southern gentleman.
I'm from the Midwest.
You certainly are. So, hey, thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening every week. And if you are listening, if you're enjoying what you're doing, please get out there and support us. Share, tell all your friends about us, and however you're getting our podcast, whether it be on iTunes, please go on there and subscribe to us and rate and review us. That's how we get up the charts. That's how we get more notoriety. So please rate and review us. And if you're on SoundCloud, follow us and share us. And if you're on iTunes, make sure you subscribe and leave some comments. Our success is directly linked to your involvement. So,
unfortunately,
and it's not directly linked to my co-host. Thank goodness.
Unfortunately, we had to rely on these people. I mean, honestly, I could be a one-man show without them, but...
Are you like Heath Slater, a one-man band?
Maybe. I'll think about it. I like the Heath Slater-Rhino combo.
You are kind of like Heath Slater right now.
Am I?
You know, in your double wide and above-ground pool.
With my family.
Hey, Isaac, we have a sponsor on the show that we debuted last week.
We do.
Have you ever checked them out? LuchaMaskUSA.com. You guys need to go out and visit them for all your Lucha Libre merchandise, direct from the luchadors themselves. They have all kinds of great stuff, shirts, masks, everything you want. You'll hear a commercial from them later, but hey, I'm going to put them over. Go check them out, LuchaMaskUSA.com. You know, Ike, that I love my Lucha Libre.
Yeah, man, they got all kinds of stuff on there. I went and checked out their website last night, actually. I just kind of scrolling the interwebs.
So when you're thinking Christmas present, you know where to go for me.
Why would I get you a Christmas present?
Because you're riding my coattails and I'm giving you this vessel.
I'm riding your coattails. I think you're riding my coattails.
You can't even afford a coat for coattails.
You're probably right about that, but
and I also want to throw a special thanks out to a fellow podcast of ours called Grapple Talk. They had ran a commercial for us this week. A little plug for the Dave Dynasty Show. Pretty cool. So go check them out. You can look them up on Facebook at Grapple Talk. It'll have the link to their Podbean account and everything else. Pretty cool podcast. Go check them out. It would help if I could speak.
It happens. You know, when you're as old as you are, you start forgetting things, and I'm surprised. Yeah. You know, dementia.
The problem is all you kids come along and just make up shit words because you can't learn the language. And how are we going to keep up?
But fam, what are you talking about, fam?
You fool. Just learn the language. Don't make up new. Good Lord. Okay. Isaac, let's just jump right into it, Isaacs.
Jumping right into it.
Ike, wrestling headlines.
No Mercy.
That's right. No Mercy was last Sunday. Fortunately, it's overdone and in the past because overall, the show was no good.
Yeah, there was like a handful of things that were good, but very little.
2 matches.
Oh, shit.
2 matches, in my opinion, that were okay. The triple threat for the title was a good match, and they led off with that, so we come right out of the gates with one of the better matches. And then, of course, T.J. Perkins versus Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight title. That was a great match. And, otherwise the show kind of blew chunks to me. It was not that good. I don't know. To me, it was a 2-match show, and that just wasn't enough.
It was lackluster. It really was. I like the Miz and the Dolph Ziggler.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Miz Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, Miz Dolph Ziggler was good.
Yeah. Okay, so there was 3 matches,
and then you had that completely botched women's match because Becky Lynch is hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for her, but they could have just come up with something. Like, that was an awful match.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But I like Heath Slater and Rhino, and I'm glad they're still the champions.
Yeah. The problem is, though, WWE has these pay-per-views that don't feel like pay-per-views.
Yeah.
They I don't know. They're like a high-quality Raw, which, we don't really get those anymore either.
Yeah.
But, or a high-quality SmackDown. But I don't know. To me, right now, WWE is just, they're in a rut. It's very dull, very lackluster. It's just very, I don't know. It's just blah.
I feel like all their pay-per-views at this point are like glorified TV tapings.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
there's some really good stuff on all the shows, and then there's some really bad stuff. And I have to wonder who's writing these things. Is it the same people that's just really like bipolar and having that much problem? Or I don't know. It's very odd. And maybe part of it is that they just can't or won't put the faith in the talent to come up with some of their own stuff and cut some of their own promos. And, because you look at the good stuff, like Kevin Owens and Jericho, they're doing that. That's them. I mean,
that's fantastic. I mean, like you said, I think they're just kind of, I just don't think they're bipolar or something.
For the record, if you don't start behaving, I'm going to start my own list, and you're going to be on the list.
Am I going to be on the list?
Actually, you are the list.
Well, they say.
No, what do they say?
I don't know. I had something in my head, but it just kind of slipped out.
Seriously, learn the language.
I think your dementia is like catching up with me.
Yeah, okay. What else we got? Let's get past No Mercy. What else?
Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Yeah, we talked about this. We talked about this last week, and it looks like it's happening. At least Goldberg's showing up on Raw tomorrow. And like I said last time, regardless of what you think of Bill Goldberg, it's a big deal.
Oh, yes.
It's exciting. It's something. I'm not a huge Goldberg fan, but for the first time in I don't know how long, I have some anticipation about watching Raw just to see when he comes out.
I think that's part of it, because you were saying just a minute ago that the Raw and the SmackDowns and stuff were being kind of lackluster, and I feel like this is a good way to kind of fix that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we talked about it last week. They need big draw matches. They don't have them, and this will be. So it looks like we're probably getting this as a Survivor Series. I can't imagine Goldberg's coming in on Raw just say, no.
Hey, what's up, guys? Goldberg here.
And apparently he's already got a future Raw scheduled appearance.
Really?
To hype it further, so it should be interesting. We'll see what happens. Again, I don't know. The match may stink, but at least it's a draw, right? It's an appeal. People, it's got some star power to it.
It does. I think I mean, first of all, Brock Lesnar's money. Anytime you have Brock Lesnar on a pay-per-view, it's money. Even if he's in a horrible match with somebody who doesn't deserve the match, it's money.
Again, I have to wonder, how is it going to turn out? Because Lesnar's hard-hitting, suplex-driven style is Goldberg at his age and being off as long as he is going to take that. Yeah. Is he going to be able to?
I mean, like I said last week,
how long has it been since the man's taken a bump?
Yeah.
Is he going to take a dozen suplexes?
I mean, like I told you last week, they're essentially the same person.
No.
I mean, in style, they're the same
sort of,
person.
Yes, but I don't know. Perhaps Goldberg will be down at the Performance Center. Perhaps, he'll shake the... who knows? I don't know. I don't want to judge until we see it. I'm looking forward to it just because... Not because I'm a particular fan of their styles or whatever else, but it's exciting. It's news. It's a happening. It's an event. And... so it's something to watch.
And you also get to hear Paul Heyman talk, and man, I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, you are. All right, what else?
All right,
got another headline.
So the last headline, which I might completely just botch these names, Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega as main. Did I botch it?
Yeah. Okay. At least you didn't botch Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Connie Amigu as main event at Wrestle Kingdom 11.
Yeah. See, as people will know, I love Lucha Libre, but I also love Puro. I love the Japanese style. I love New Japan. And I think it's a cool main event. I'm not a huge Omega fan, but he's definitely got personality. He's definitely over. He definitely plays a good heel. He can work. And Okada Omega, to me, will be a good match. Because Okada lifts everybody, and it'll be a good match. Hopefully they don't put the IWGP title on Omega. I think that would be a bad move, but who knows? I don't know. It's been very hot and cold, people's reactions, because people either love or hate Kenny Omega. I'm kind of in the middle. I like some of his stuff. I don't like some of his stuff. But overall, I think he's a good talent. I think it's a good match. It's the obvious main event to them. It's something different. It's something fresh. So we'll see. But, Wrestle Kingdom alone will be worth it just to watch Big Mike Elgin. He'll be on there. And
yeah, I heard about that, too.
Elgin will be great.
Elgin's a money man.
He is. So,
actually,
all right.
I had another thing I was going to say. Did you hear about the whole thing with AJ Styles? Like, and he was wrestling some guy. He didn't take a bump right, and he about broke his
James
neck.
Ellsworth?
Yeah.
That's the little guy. Yeah. He about got his neck broken in the Styles Clash because he tucked his chin.
Yeah, and then Styles, readjust midair.
AJ saved his ass.
Dude, I saw that. That was amazing. That's just proof that he is phenomenal.
It is, and it's also proof that they need to be careful with Ellsworth, even though it's humorous and it's over. He's not quite on this guy's level. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty basic mistake on that kind of move. It's a front bump. You don't tuck your chin. But I don't know. I hear rumblings that there's going to be another Styles in him match, kind of for the title since he pinned, which obviously I don't think he'll win, but still, maybe they don't do the Styles Clash.
Or if they do, at least have him rehearse it a couple
I
more times.
I would have loved to have seen what the reaction was back in the curtain when they came through that curtain.
Oh yeah, I bet there was someone like, "What are you doing?"
I wonder if Styles repped into him.
Oh, I hope with that Georgia accent.
You think because he's Georgia and he's got that southern accent that he's really tearing into you, but it just doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I feel like he's like yelling at you, and you just got a smile on your face. You're just like, "All right."
I don't know. The whole thing's entertaining and all, but it was almost. I mean, people have had their neck broken with this before. It's happened in Japan, and because of the same thing. And so, as sad as it is to say, Styles has experience with people tucking the chin and doing that. It's not Styles' fault. It's the guy taking the bump. And thankfully, though, he was aware enough. I'm not sure how he even noticed
because
that he tucked the chin. How in the world he saw that?
Because he's great.
Or if he just assumed, hey, this guy's probably going to take this wrong. I better be safe. I don't know what happened, but he did save him.
Hey,
And oh well,
he's a legend.
It could have been nasty. So we'll talk more about Styles later.
Yes, we will actually.
So anyway, so is that it for the wrestling headlines?
That is it for the wrestling headlines.
All right, very cool. We're going to take a quick break. When I come back, I have an exclusive Dave Dynasty Show interview with the Blue-Eyed Devil, Tripp Cassidy.
Good man,
Should be great. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Visit LuchaMaskUSA.com for official high-quality Lucha masks and merchandise, straight from the luchadors themselves. They have a huge and always growing inventory, so check back often. That's LuchaMaskUSA.com.
All right, here we are on the Dave Dynasty Show, and I am joined by the Blue-Eyed Devil, the Strong Style Center, Tripp Cassidy. Tripp, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, good. So what have you been up to lately, Tripp? What's been going on in the world of Tripp Cassidy?
Just, traveling the country, trying to represent Indiana as best as humanly possible.
Yeah, I've noticed that lately. You've kind of taken that upon your shoulders to kind of help try to restore and rebuild Indiana and represent. What's that like when you're out there? Because I no disrespect to anybody in the past, but Indiana's had kind of a tarnished image. So what's that like when you're out there on the road and people hear you're from Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the last handful of years, Indiana's been it's been a rough area for guys to really break out of. I don't think there's a lot of bad wrestlers in Indiana. I think it's just guys that don't have the opportunity to spread out across the country or really get the exposure that they could have the opportunity to get if they would leave. And I mean, me, Dale Patrick's, Ace Perry, and Josh Crane took it upon ourselves to call ourselves the Young Dragons as kind of an homage to the original Naptown Dragons, Drake, Scotty, OMG, and Diehard Dustin Lee, who did the same thing we're trying to do today and travel the country kind of representing Indiana as best as possible and make people realize that not everybody in Indiana is a 40-miler guy.
Right. Yeah, and you guys, the Young Dragons, you're kind of this unique this unique group that you're all still young, but yet you all have a lot of experience. You all got started and broke in very young. And when you guys travel and you're out there and the guys that are under you and the younger guys, do you feel this responsibility to help mentor these guys and help show them a thing or two, some of the guys behind you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way I was brought up when I first broke in, like, I was trained by Billy Rock, and when I came in, he was already retired or semi-retired. So it was my responsibility from day one when he said, you know, the next classes, every class that he has, like, it's my job to be his eyes and ears, take kids on the road and teach them what he would teach them if he was on the road. Mm-hmm. And I've been fortunate enough that, you know, I've had the opportunities I have to learn from some great wrestlers, you know, everybody from Nigel McGuinness to Chris Hero, Daniel Bryan, Jimmy Jacobs, all these great guys who've taught me and, like, given me a helping hand in learning the business, and I've been able to give that to other people. And I think the only way that we can improve the area or improve the guys that are in the area, like a Cole Radrick or Jonathan Wolf or Sean Kemp, these young kids that are coming in now that are trying to do what we were doing and what we've been doing, the only way we can do that is passing down the knowledge and, you know, lending a helping hand when it's possible.
Right. And I think that's kind of maybe where Indiana broke down in the past is that circle, I think, got broken. And there was a lot of guys that were, in my opinion, trying to hold down some of these younger guys and some of this new style. I don't know if it was fear for their spots or what it was, but I don't think some of that was passed on. I think that's kind of where Indiana broke down a lot. I mean, do you feel the same kind of, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, now that we're in the position that some people were in before us, like, it's really hard not to be cynical about things and look at guys like, I mean, you know, once you've gotten to a certain level and you've learned a certain amount of, you know, psychology and the way things are built and the way we do things and why we do them, it's really hard to see somebody else who's not doing those things and realize, like, hey, just because you've learned it, they haven't yet. A lot of people look at that and then, you know, their first thought is to just, you know, shut it down. Right. People look at the young guys and they're like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. And instead of telling them, like, hey, you know, I appreciate what you're doing. You're obviously putting in a lot of work. Now here's how you can mold it and make it better. A lot of guys are just looking at it and saying, like, that's just not good, and then leaving it alone, like, not passing on any knowledge, not helping them advance.
Right. Yeah, well, you spoke about Billy Rock. I'm pretty sure, but correct me if I'm wrong, you were the very first School of Rock student, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that all come about? I mean, was there even technically a school? I mean, how did all that start when you and Billy at first?
Yeah, at first, when I was 13, 14 years old, guys like Sammy Callahan and the Chris brothers, like, they would teach me how to bump. They teach me how to, like, roll around. They try and, like, train me little by little. But I knew that if I was ever going to actually be a wrestler, I needed a real school. Right. So being, like, you know, 13, 14, just having a lot of fire and you know, a lot of desire to do this, I would just bother everybody I could because I was paying dues, you know, setting up, tearing down, doing concessions, cleaning up blood, all that for years before, like, when Billy's, like, finally retired, I had this idea in my head that, I mean, it was, you know, a decent idea for a 13-year-old kid, but, like, I told myself if I wanted to be a wrestler, I wanted to get what I wanted to do, you know, like the style I wanted. I grew up on guys like Rey Mysterio and, you know, Mystico, Eddie Guerrero, like lucha guys. That was my deal. So Billy Rock being the ideal choice for that. With the second he retired, I called him. I don't know how I called him being like, you know, a young teenager. I got his phone number and, hey, Billy, do you have a school or is there any way you could train me? Like, I know you're retired now. Like, and he didn't have any school or any plans of a school at all. And then called me back a couple hours later. He was like, oh, I think I can figure something out. So like the first couple months, we used somebody else's ring. There was a promotion near him. They was just running once every couple months, but they had a ring and a storage unit. So that's where it all started, and then it evolved into its own thing. Yeah. But the first year, like, people came and went. There'd be people that come for a couple of weeks and try and learn, and they give up. But realistically, the entire year it was just me and Billy.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible what it's become, and all the guys that have come through there since you, and everything else. And obviously now, you know, as an area, we're looking at the end of that? Is Billy stepping away from that here next month? I mean, I think the school's done, but he's got his last show, School of Rock show next month. And I know you've probably said some goodbyes, and I'm sure you'll have more chance next month. But for you personally, what does Billy Rock mean to you, and what does that mean to you? And the fact that this guy took this time out of his life to do this for you. I mean, if you had to say something to him heart to heart, I mean, what would you say to him, and what that meant to you, and who you are?
Yeah, I've been very vocal in promos and other podcasts, things like that, about how me and my dad, stereotypical every teenage kid, I had a very stressed relationship with my dad. Believe it or not, it's not a family, He was a guy that paid bills, and that's it.
You're right.
And sometimes would, throw me around and beat me up and cuss at me. We were not family at all.
Yeah.
Billy Rock, that's my dad to me.
Yeah.
He's the person who taught me how to be a human being. And he's a grown man. He's got a kid, and he's got a wife, a real job. And whenever I needed something, growing up as a person, he was there. Like, anytime I've ever had a problem, he's been there.
Yeah.
When I ran away from home or whatever, moved out of my parents' house when I was like 17, I moved up to Lafayette, and he let me live in this training. I lived in the training center, in the storage unit on the ring, slept on the ring, and he got me a job up in Lafayette, and let me stay at his house a couple times. And he really helped me as a human being, not just as a wrestler. I mean, that alone, the wrestling portion, like, a lot of people get things misconstrued. Like, a lot of people think, oh, well, your trainer just gets you everywhere. Billy Rock's never gotten to be booked for anything. He's not like that. He's not a hand me guy. He'll tell you, hey, this is who you contact, and he's guided me in the right direction. But he's always made me work for anything I've ever done. And from day one, he's shown me the hard way, and I'm glad, because that's what's made me who I am.
Right. Yeah. So you talked about you had a strained childhood, your teenage years. Where in all this did wrestling come into it? Where did you first see wrestling, or how did that come into your life as a kid?
Really, I wasn't like, most kids grow up with it, where they get into it really young.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into it till much later. Like, I was probably 12, 13 when I started getting into it, and all my friends were getting out of it.
Right.
But I watched a few WWE related things, but what I really got into was, like, my grandma had Galvisión, which is like the CMLL AAA channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That same here. Back when this is a long time ago. When I was a kid, we had the huge satellite dishes in our yard, and I was into wrestling, and just flipping through and saw this, and it was fascinating to me. It hooked me immediately, and the colors, the masks, the trios matches. I mean, it was amazing to me, and I thought it was so much better than anything else on TV, and I couldn't understand why nobody else did too.
Oh, yeah.
But so who?
Right.
You spoke. You said Ray and Eddie and these guys. Is this? The timetable, is this pre-WCW even? Like, did you catch them on the tail end of their runs in Mexico, or?
No, I don't think I watched, I didn't watch wrestling until I was later on. So, like, I started watching, the first time I ever saw wrestling, I saw Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio on SmackDown in, like, 2002.
Okay, yeah, right.
It was the first time I ever watched wrestling. Yeah.
Okay. So, so you watched that, and Ray was what hooked you, right? I mean, you see that, and you weren't. It wasn't the Kurt Angle; it was the Rey Mysterio. Yeah. So very cool. So I mean,
yeah, like.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's super contradictory, because to this day, like, now the thing that's been like what's made me money and like helped me get out is the polar opposite of what got me into wrestling. Like,
right.
I'm known for being like aggressive, hard-hitting, like, spin people's mouths and stuff, I'm really, like, gross, very, Finley Brawler-esque. And, like, what got me into wrestling was the polar opposite. I never wanted anybody to get hurt. I just wanted people to do cool athletic things. Like, I love watching guys like Rey Mysterio and Matt Sydal, and, like, to this day, that's why, I took Ace Perry under my wing as, like, he's a young, super athletic kid, and I really enjoy everything he does, and now that he's got the psychology behind it, he's blown up.
Yeah. Is that still what you lean towards when you sit down just to watch for enjoyment, not tape study or anything like that? Is that still the kind of stuff you watch? Is it still that lucha style, or?
Oh yeah, like if I'm studying stuff, I'll watch like Samoa Joe, Chris Hero, Super Dragon, Roderick Strong, guys like that. But if I'm just watching it as a fan, I really get lost in guys like ACH and Matt Sydal, Kushida. Those guys really like totally shut my brain off and turn me back into a fan.
Right. One thing I've noticed here, I've noticed you've kind of had this kindred spirit thing going on with Team IOU. I saw you guys have Six Man some and whatever else. Tell me, how did that all get started with you and carry off on Nick Iggy?
Oh yeah, it's weird because like, I mean, even from day one when I was like a kid and I shouldn't have been, you know what I mean? Like I was a kid and I should have just been being led by people. There were a lot of people that helped me along the way. Sammy like played big brother to me for a long time, and you know the Chris brothers really helped me out. But like as a kid, I was taught from day one that I was to hold a leadership role. So I was always like big brother to everybody I could find on the indies.
Right.
And now Kerry and Iggy, like we're all Kerry and Iggy are older than me, but we all broke in at the exact same time. So it's like I'm on the same level with them. Like we're all like really close. Like it's like having brothers the same age as opposed to like, you know, trying to mentor people.
Yeah. And I when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that fits. Tripp and those guys, that it just fits. It made sense. So yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I know the big cliche thing that everybody's been doing here the past few months is this list thing, and I'm not going to ask for a list or whatever else. But what are some of your goals? Because as 2016 comes to a close and we're looking at 2017, what are some of your goals professionally for yourself in this coming year?
Yeah, I've definitely seen all those. Everybody's got a list for themselves. And,
yeah.
I mean, I've definitely thought about that the same way. But to me, like, everything I do is very internal. Like, I'm not one of those, like, I don't compare myself to other people. I don't look at other people's success and let it dictate and define where I head. It's very, like, how can I top myself? How can I top this? So, like, and the same thing goes with who I want to work and what I want to do. Like, there are definitely dream matches I'd love to have. Like, I'm dying to wrestle Chris Hero, and I've talked to Sammy lately, and, like, it's been 6 years, or 5 years, 6 years since we've had a match, and I would love to wrestle Sammy again. But the honesty is, like, to me, I just want to go everywhere, and, like, I've made it a point to myself to go everywhere and really, like, make the last couple months and the next year, like, proof that I can do it for me.
Right.
For so long, I've had so many people telling me, like, oh, man, you gotta stop mentoring everybody. Like, you're too worried about making everybody else look good. Like, you gotta, like, get out there and make yourself look good. You gotta prove to everybody how good you actually are. And to me, it's been, like, you know, I'm not, like, a selfish person. I'm not a saint by any means, but I really like the mentality of taking everyone with me. But at this point, I feel like the only way I'm going to help anybody else is if I can, like, break out. And that does include, like, I really got to, you know, make my name. And that includes things like going to Europe, wrestling guys like Chris Hero, going overseas anywhere, you know, just traveling outside the United States and really making my name.
Yeah, I mean, given what you've talked about, I've got to think Mexico would be like a dream for you, right? To go down there, work some of those arenas.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be something else. Yeah, you talked about, I mean, like Callahan. I think that would be very cool to revisit him. I mean, you guys I would suspect, are totally different than where you were 5 or 6 years ago. It'd be like almost a totally different match with what your guys' experienced since then. And I think, you know, things like that would be very cool. I mean, you spoke about, you know, you mentioned a few names. Who do you see as the next young guys coming in behind you guys, behind the Dragons that can carry that torch? Is there anybody, I know you mentioned a couple, but is there anybody else, not even in Indiana per se, just out there, you know, in your travels that's really caught your eye?
Oh, there's so many guys. Like I said, like with me kind of mentoring guys around here, like I don't go out of my way to force myself on anybody, but luckily, like I've had the opportunity to give people advice on things, and that includes like guys from all over the country send me their matches, guys from other countries. I have a friend in Australia that always sends me his stuff and asks me things that he can work on. I have guys in the UK that send me stuff and ask what they can work on. And that, like, there's so many guys that I tell people like Perry and Dale Patricks and all these young guys like who they should be looking out for, because those are the guys that are going to come up with them. Because guaranteed in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see guys like Kobe Durst and Space Monkey and Shane Saber that are all from Canada. You're going to see guys like those in places like Evolve. You're going to see Ace Perry doing things like Ring of Honor. You're going to see the young guys like Cole Radrick and Jonathan and Sean. They're going to come up and fill our spots behind us. And there's guys like, there's a guy named Chase Aarons out of Cleveland who's fantastic and hasn't had the exposure he deserves. Aaron Anders from Arkansas really deserves spots. There's so many guys. People are really focused on how WWE's picking up a lot of the indie guys and like what's going to happen to the independents once everybody's been signed. But I think there's so many unseen guys in the States that really deserve the opportunity to fill those spots and come in and really change the scene for the better.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's always what I've said is that, there's this top tier names that everybody knows, and when they're gone, that's okay because there's just another level of guys ready to step in, and they'll be those internet names that everybody will know. I mean, there's plenty of talent out there. So, well, Tripp, that's about all I got. Thanks for joining. Where can people find you on social media if they do want to get hold of you or follow you and see what you're up to?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Yeah. All my social media, it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that is at Tripp Cassidy, TrippCassidy. And that's basically where you can find anything related to me. It's a unique enough name that I don't think you're going to stumble upon too many Tripp Cassidys.
Right, yeah, and you've got a Pro Wrestling Tee store out there, right? Just they can look you up on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pro Wrestling Tees has two designs right now. I've got my Hell on Earth shirt that's very Atlanta Underground based, and then I've also got the traditional Sinners Never Sleep shirt, which is kind of my branding lately in my lifestyle. So, yeah, definitely.
Yep, very cool. So get out there and check out Tripp. Catch him at a local show. Follow him on social media. Go buy a shirt. Support him. He's out there working the towns, working the road, helping the young guys. Tripp, thanks for joining us, and good luck to you and in your career. And we'll be following you and keep in touch, and maybe we'll hook back up down the road and do a follow-up on where you're at there. So.
Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, see you, Tripp.
Check out Geek Stew for all your geek and wrestling news and podcasts. Visit geek-stew.com. Gather round for life lessons from professional wrestling's own Mance Warner. It's Warner Wisdom.
All right, people, it's your man, your favorite wrestler of mine, me, Mance Warner. Y'all know me as the medium-sized man beast, the king of big dog style, big doggy, big dog, Mr. No Knee Pads Needed. Got a lot of nicknames. Now I'm sitting here drinking on light beer, looking through all my internet Facebook messages here. Since I started doing Warner's Wisdom, done what, I think 2 of these on the podcast. I've had people emailing me questions. They need advice. They need help. They need walk through life. So, I got one right here I've been reading. It's from a kid. I ain't going to say his name. He in high school. It says, I just turned 18. I'm getting bullied. What can I do, Mr. Warner? I'm going to tell you, bud. I'm going to tell you. Now, hold on here. First of all, you just turned 18. You're in high school. You can pretty much do whatever the hell you want to do. As long as you ain't killing nobody or trying to blow up no school or punching your damn principal, you can get away with just about anything you want to do right now in life. So, my advice to you goes as follows. If you follow it, exactly what I'm telling you to do here, you ain't going to have no issues. Now, on Monday, you go back to school, roll up in there, find the biggest, baddest motherfucker up in your school, walk up on him, punch him right in his cocksucker, lay him out. That's step one. And then you're probably going to get kicked out that day. That's fine. No one's going to fuck with you no more. You got home for a little bit. Do whatever you got to do. Preferably do this on a Friday. Don't do this on Monday. I've been drinking these light beers. Follow me, though. Follow me, kid. Do this on a Friday. Punch that fucker in the face. Drop him like a sack of shit. Go home. Get ready for Friday night. Go out to whatever party they got going on. Get some light beers. Go make some new friends. Get out there. Pound some beers. Find yourself a lady. Or man, I don't care. Whatever. It's 2016. You do whatever the hell you want to do. But go out there. Lay a dude out. Biggest guy in your school. Get some light beers. Go out to a party. Make some friends. Quit being a pussy, man. That's it. Just don't be a pussy no more. End of the day, step up and make a name for yourself, man. That's all you got to do, kid. Nah. The rest of you people, you got your questions. You need some advice. You need some help. Send it to Big Doggy, a medium-sized man beast. Mance Warner, the king of light beers and lariats. Send it on over to Twitter or Facebook or whatever it's called on the intranet. I answer them, send them over here on Warner's Wisdom, baby.
All right, and we're back. Holy cow, Mance Warner. Oh,
Dance Warner is he's a hoot and a half, man. I tell you what,
he is. Let me throw out there that hey, Mance has his own way about life. We here at the Dave Dynasty Show do not condone punching people unprovoked.
Yeah, or
okay, maybe it wasn't unprovoked.
Yeah, I mean, or his words, don't punch someone in their
pie hole.
In the pie hole.
That, yeah. But anyway, perhaps there are other ways to deal with it. Perhaps they're not. We'll let you decide that. We don't, certainly, if you're 18, condone underage drinking at parties, whether it be a light beer or not. We know that barely quantifies drinking. But
yeah, it's basically water.
Yeah.
Thus the name Dance Warner.
And okay, well, that's Mance's take. Take that wisdom for what you will.
With a grain of salt.
Just be careful because Mance's ways often has repercussions involved. So
usually with police.
Yeah. Wow. Woo! All right, let's move on. Let's move on to our question and answer. Do we have questions this week? Did people?
No, nobody has questions.
Yeah, I know I have a question. Like,
what's that?
Why the hell is Ike Isaacs on this show?
There's actually a really good answer for that. You want to hear my answer?
I don't think you're the one to answer, but go ahead.
So here's the answer to the question. The reason that Ike Isaacs is on this show is because you need Ike Isaacs. Let's be honest. If Ike Isaacs wasn't on this show, there would be no show. The only reason this is called the Dave Dynasty Show is because you, for some reason, started this podcast.
And because some people know who Dave Dynasty is, and nobody knows who Ike Isaacs is until now?
Maybe. But, regardless, I am the show.
You are regardless. Let's give me a question. What do we got?
Ready?
Yeah.
Should the phenomenal AJ Styles already be considered one of the greatest of all time?
So here we go. We're going to talk AJ again, huh?
AJ.
Should he be considered one of the greatest of all time already? Yes.
Absolutely.
I think so. I would say definitely top 10.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you rate him in-ring performance, he's one of the best workers ever. His accomplishments show that. I mean, he's had success everywhere he goes. He makes money, I think, and he draws everywhere he goes. Oh, yeah. So he is an attraction. And just alone the impact of what he's had in WWE since coming in, and WWE being skeptical, but yet him showing that he did have a draw power. So yes, I think he's definitely one of the greatest of all time. Definitely top 10. But he's not done yet. He's still got time to go. So I don't rate greatest of all time just purely on how many times they hold a belt or anything like that. Obviously that stuff ties into it, and he's held championships everywhere. I mean, everywhere. But
a lot of continents.
His quality of work, his body of work, the impact he has on the business. I mean, maybe people don't realize it, but when he came into WWE, was allowed to keep his name, keep his persona, debut on the main roster, and have the impact he did. That changes the business.
When he debuted at the Royal Rumble, that was sensational.
But he didn't have to do the new name. He didn't have to do any of that. His deal and how he came in, it changes the WWE, changes the business.
Definitely.
It's one of those things that years from now it'll be, it's a big moment. So yes, I think he's one of the greatest of all time. He's highly entertaining. Whether you love him or hate him, he does his job and does it well. So
100% agree.
I think so, and he's always done that. Whether it be in TNA, whether it be in New Japan, whether it be in Ring of Honor, whether it be in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, whether it be wherever he's worked, he's the man.
Greatest.
So yes.
That's
So
phenomenal.
what else we have?
Next question. Which match would be better? Prince Puma versus Gran Metalik or Phoenix versus Kota Ibushi?
Which match would be better? Okay, first of all, I'd like to see them both. I don't know. There might be a chance that Ricochet or Prince Puma, I don't know this, but he may have already wrestled Gran Metalik as Masquerade Dorada.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. But to me, of those two matches, I myself would rather see Phoenix, or how he's now known as Rey Fenix, versus Kota Ibushi. That match would be unbelievable, off the charts. Rey Fenix is remarkable, and the good thing is he's realizing his opportunity and what he has and where he could go. He's kind of broke free of AAA and done his own thing now, and there's going to be huge things in the future for him. Kota Ibushi is one of the greatest of all time, and Kota Ibushi is just great because he's not signed a deal with WWE, but he still does appearances for them in NXT and the cruiserweight. But he's kind of basically told WWE, I kind of F off, I'm not signing a deal. And then he shows up back at New Japan for a pre-show thing to do the new Tiger Mask W character in a match, hype up. I'm like, how fun is that? The guy's playing an anime character
He's
on
awesome.
a show. So both matches would be spectacular, but the Phoenix Kota match would be great. I would love to see it. Kota match.
Question. Phoenix, that's
It's Pentagon Jr.'s
it's
brother.
Pentagon Jr.'s brother. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, we saw him
Yeah.
wrestle.
Yes. He's amazing.
Amazing.
He's great.
All right. Ready for your last question?
Yeah.
Greatest brawler of all time. First, maybe give them a definition of what a brawler would be. Just in case they don't know.
In my mind, a brawler is a guy who just kind of a tough, raw ass, just kick, punch, clothesline. Not a lot of maneuvering, not a lot of high flying. Guy that will legit beat the shit out of you. And when he does it, it doesn't look like it's cheap or fake because he's not doing all these things. It looks like, yeah, he could do that.
Definitely.
And to answer the question, we can discuss it further, but there's a simple answer. In my mind, point blank, Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody?
Absolutely done deal. There are a lot of great brawlers, but my God, Bruiser Brody was the man. And one of my favorites of all time. And Bruiser Brody also changed the business. Because in a time when everybody in the world that was a top talent was going to WWE, or WWF at that time, making big money with stupid gimmicks, whatever it may be. Okay, I'm not knocking it, but they were taking the money because WWF was just literally signing everybody.
Yeah.
And Bruiser Brody said, go to hell, I'll do my own thing, and travel the world. Was huge in Japan, Puerto Rico, everywhere. Made lots of money, kept his own schedule, did his own thing. He was like in my mind, the model, the first true big independent wrestler that did his own thing, and he did it in a time when it was different. And it was, guys, you could work the territories, but you would stay in a territory for months till you kind of burnt out your welcome, went to the next one. You traveled around like that. Brody would just go to a place for a short while, or just a few appearances. He was a draw, even with a one-time appearance. Bruiser Brody's coming in. And, if you want to see one of the best things ever in professional wrestling, look up Bruiser Brody versus Lex Luger in Florida. I believe it might have been a cage match. I'm not 100%. I can't remember now. Or for whatever reason, Luger was very young. just getting it started. Was big in Florida. Obviously, had a future ahead of him because he was roided up, looked great, and
Roided up.
but didn't work well. He was not that great a worker.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it's never been defined, never been told, but to my knowledge, partway into this match, Brody just decided he wasn't going to sell anything for Luger anymore. And Luger would hit him and punch him and do things, and Brody wouldn't. He just wouldn't sell. And it was weird. It was very uncomfortable looking, but it's hilarious. It's great.
Is it on YouTube, probably?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And Brody could do it. What were they going to say to him?
Hey,
I mean,
take the bumps.
What are you going to do? Because Brody would legit kick your ass.
He sounds like the guy that would just kind of meet you in an alley and just like,
He would. But it's funny because on the, in real life he was, from what they say, he was a great guy, a family man, had lived his family, whatever else. So, truly, yeah, he was great. A career struck short. It would have been great, to see what he could have done. But
did he pass away? Did he die?
he was murdered.
Oh, really?
In Puerto Rico, yeah.
By who?
Well, it just depends on who you ask.
Oh, is one of those conspiracy ones?
It's Puerto Rico. It's not really conspiracy. It's pretty known who it was, but it was kind of a cover up to help protect people. But it's Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I guess.
In the late '80s, it's like, how's it going to work? It's not like they had this stellar CSI team to come in and, look it up. It's a huge story. It's a huge mess. But yeah, he was murdered. So
that's very unfortunate.
Stabbed in the shower.
That's odd.
It was like a locker room shower.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a hotel or something. That's like
no. He went in to discuss with someone some business, and they went into. They weren't like in the shower. They were in a stall type thing, or because it was apart from everybody else. There was some yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
One guy came out. Somebody found Brody on the ground bleeding, and they didn't get him to help in time, and so anyway, though, greatest brawler of all time, Bruiser Brody, hands down. Lots of other great brawlers, but your argument is null and void. It's Bruiser Brody.
All right, so I think that's it. I think that's it for our questions. I'm gonna have to look up Bruiser Brody now because I don't think I've really seen much of his wrestling.
Oh, he's great. So
sounds like something I need to look into. He sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah. So that's it, huh?
I believe so. I think that is all the questions we have for today.
Well, I've somehow managed to carry you through another episode.
I beg your pardon. I am the one that's carrying you.
You can keep begging for my pardon, but you'll never get it.
That sounds like some weird, like, judge and jury. You will never get my pardon.
Wait a minute. You think you carried me, but yet you didn't know Bruiser Brody was murdered. Who's carrying who here? Come on.
Hey, I was not born in the 40s, so
you can still be a historian.
Yeah, I mean, I know some stuff.
You know some stuff. What a great defense.
Hey,
I know some stuff.
I don't need a defense. These people will like me regardless.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So, Ike, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at PintSizeBeast, and on this podcast where I carry Dave Dynasty every week.
Okay. So, go on Twitter. Go to at PintSizedBeast and tell Ike what you think of him.
I'll respond to everybody too, probably.
And anything you want to say, and give your opinions. Don't hold back. Let him know.
Don't hold back. Let him know.
He's heard it before. You can find me on Twitter at the Dave Dynasty, and on Facebook at the Dave Dynasty, and look up Dave Dynasty Show on Instagram.
At Twitter at I have dementia.
Okay. Wow. So anyway, that's where you can find us. You can always, of course, just visit www.davedynasty.com. There are links there to get you everywhere you need to be. So thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Please go out and share, subscribe, review. Help us out. Let's spread the word. And we've got a couple of other interviews coming up.
We do.
I do, yeah. I think we got one coming up with Diamond Cut Ace Perry. That might be next week. We might try to see if we can get him on next week. Also going to do one with Cole Radrick.
Now that's a man I can get behind.
Of course, you're like kindred brethren. So.
Cole Radrick is the greatest. He's the last true fighter.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, he's going to be on, and we'll see who else we're going to get. For somebody you'd like to see on the show, please contact us on Twitter. We'll see if we can make it happen. I'll talk to anybody and everybody. We like to support the young guys out there. We like to support independent wrestling. go to some shows. We got some big shows coming up. We're going to go to, I think, going to try to go to the Ted Petty Invitational for IWA Mid-South, first weekend in November. Should be spectacular, as always. So, lots of fun stuff coming up. Get out there, support your local independent organization, local independent wrestlers. Go to their stores on Pro Wrestling Tees. Go wherever. Buy a shirt. Support these guys. They're out there putting a lot of miles in. They need your support, including our guest today, Tripp Cassidy. He's on Pro Wrestling Tees. Go out and buy a shirt. He's got some cool shirts. The Center Never Sleep shirts, the Strong Style Center shirts. He's got some cool stuff. Go look him up on Pro Wrestling Tees. Find him on Facebook. Support these guys. That's it for episode 3. I am Dave Dynasty, and I am joined by
Ike Isaacs.
And we will see you next week. See ya.